p.m. Tuesday at 7:18. As far as roll call, we have everyone here on the council except for Councilman White, who's asked to be excused tonight. To begin, we'll go ahead and have an opening prayer. I'll offer that, and then we've asked Rowdy Flower to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before Thee at the beginning of this meeting to give Thee thanks for the many blessings that Thou hast given us. We thank Thee, Father, for the blessing it is to live in the area that we do. We're grateful for the citizens in Roosevelt and all that they do and the services they provide. Grateful for staff and for all that they do for our residents and for us as council. We're grateful for our first responders, our police and firefighters, and those that keep us safe. We ask a blessing upon them and protection. We ask Thee this night that Thy Spirit will be with us to guide us and direct us in the decisions that we make, that they will be in the best interest of those that we serve. We love and appreciate Thee. We're grateful for all things, and this we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As far as minutes go, we did have a little bit of a setback from our minutes last meeting, and so we're working on those. We're trying to put those together, so we will not have those for council for approval tonight.
So sunshine can't be gone.
Yeah.
So we'll push that on to the next meeting. We'll move forward to our public comment period. We do have opportunity for the public if they'd like to address the council. They can take up to 3 minutes. We do have a 15-minute window. And so are there any tonight that would like to take the opportunity to address the council? Scary yes. Seeing none, we'll move forward. Committee appointments, I don't think we have any appointments tonight for committees, do we? Recognitions? I don't think we have any recognitions. Action items tonight. Consideration of Utah Retirement System's long-term disability program agreement. We have our Chief Rockwood here tonight. I'm sure that you're going to be presenting that. We'll turn the time to you.
So basically, this is just an agreement with the state fire marshal's office for long-term disability for the firefighters. For the back page, if you guys have it, premium is paid by the Utah Fire Insurance Premium Tax, so it doesn't cost the city anything. All that's required from us is a roster that we're keeping up to date with our firefighters are with the state fire marshal office. And the only question I had, I know Grant looked this over and I was just looking through it too, says effective from the date herein. It's got a 2021 date. Do we need to change that to today's date?
Yeah, it should be today's day.
That's the only thing I saw. Maybe that's another one we change. They said everything else there, it's just a program that offers long-term disability to volunteer firefighters to the state. Just has to be signed a contract saying that we'll keep them up to date on our roster. No cost to the city.
Sounds excellent to me. Any questions from the council?
No cost to the city. I move we approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Flower. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And can you find us more bills like that?
I'll just speak with you once it's all signed.
Yeah, we'll
I do
check
have
this.
some other good news while you're up here. You might as well tell them, right?
So I left it out front so everybody can see, but my new truck's finally ready to go. We got the radio put in it today.
Beautiful too.
Anything else to look right?
I didn't get to see because I was here a little too early.
Once you walk in, you were just focused.
I'll go walk out here in just a minute. Take the.
Anyway, yeah, it's here. Did we get Ben done today?
Yes,
So we'll be,
got it in there. We'll get it licensed tomorrow and it's been almost 2
Awesome.
years in the
Yeah.
making.
This is the new tender, right?
yeah, Monday is when we'll get it put together, so get swapped out.
Have you decided what you'll do with the old one?
We're gonna try and sell it. Certainly,
Well, thanks for all you do.
yeah.
Grant, we have a public defender contract.
So Matt Morrison has been services for a few years now. I don't even remember exactly when he started. Yeah. But he resigned because he's moving to Washington State. I found somebody to take over the contract, but it is requiring a slight increase. The new one will be $3,000 a month. We were at, do you remember?
2000. No, but I can look it up.
I think it's like $500 difference.
Roughly, because we started out with that 2,300 something, and then there were built-in increases. Yeah, and we've gone through a few of those, but it probably is roughly a $500 a month increase. I feel like we're very fortunate to have found somebody who's willing to take it at this rate. And the person that we're getting is actually Matt's father. He has had a contract with Duchesne County for 15 years roughly, and recently gave notice to Duchesne County that he's quitting there, and we were able to get him here. He's wanting to kind of wind down his practice. The advantage to him here is he's switching from felony cases to misdemeanor. He was only willing to do it through June of 2024 for now. There are automatic renewal provisions, but I am recommending that we approve this. I feel like it's very reasonable. It's a lower price than I was worried we were going to have to pay when Matt first resigned. And I've got 2 open positions for Duchesne County that right now I just can't find anybody. And so to have a service provider be able to lock it down for a year, I think is in our best interest. The alternative would be that it go to an hourly rate instead of the contract. Our current hourly rate here is $100 an hour. And the number of cases they're taking, it would, I think, be well over double, probably more like this cost if we were paying out.
Quick question, Grant. It's a year contract, right?
A little over a year because it'll go through June 30th of 2020.
Does he have has he alluded to staying on even past that, or are we looking at this will buy us a little over a year and we better be looking the whole time?
It definitely buys us a little over a year. The conversations I've had with him is that he intends to let it renew for some extended terms, but I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's toward the end of his career, which is why I gave notice in Duchesne and liked the idea of this one. It's not a real long-term solution for us, but I think that it will go beyond June of 24.
Any other questions from the council?
No,
Seeing none,
I move we approve.
motion to approve. Second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Grant.
Okay, thank you guys.
Date annexation petition acceptance, Drew.
This is the big annexation. They've been just looking for approval to proceed. The letter of intent has been filed with the county and mailed out from the county side November 17th, 2022. So this is going to be 2.78 acres in total, just south of town here on State Street. So,
We do have the GIS. Yeah.
it's basically at the far southern boundary of Roosevelt. Just off the hill.
Probably might be wise to share that this is our city manager.
Yes, this would be our city manager's property, that's not going to annex Roosevelt City. Across the street is Roosevelt City to the east. Yeah, keep going south, a little more. A little bit more right there. The 2 lots go south a little bit, Ryan, yep, those 2 right there.
Are you in city limits then, chief?
Yep, I'm just outside on top.
So how does this touch city limit?
Across the street to the east is all Roosevelt City to 3,000.
Oh, I thought that was your house right there, chief, that's why I asked.
No, no, he's
Okay.
too close to me anyway.
Right. You can throw a rock. So it is touching Roosevelt on the east side. That is the proposal to proceed.
Well, we told Josh that he didn't have to be in city limits, but he had to be within a certain radius. And I think he's going above and beyond.
Did the building committee, did they have to look at this at all?
So yeah, it will go through planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning, yeah.
We did bring it to them just as a heads up last meeting, but it has to start with this body first to approve to proceed. And then it'll go back to
Yeah,
planning and zoning
yeah.
for a zone approval. I believe it's probably gonna be an RR1 where it's on the outskirts of town in the agriculture area.
So the motion that we would need to make is to proceed with the annexation, right?
That's all we're looking to pursue.
And we've annexed other properties, as long as they're touching, it's not out of line to do that.
It's to benefit Roosevelt to do it
Right.
for the most part.
I would move to proceed with the annexation.
Okay,
Is that the motion you need?
Yes. That's-
I'll second. I have a second. Councilman Baird, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Bruce. Aaron, golf course food contract.
Yes, Mayor and Council, thank you for approving the present an RFP for the golf course cafe concessions. We did that close this past week or last week, and we have one applicant you can see here from the Roosevelt store. If you've ever been there, they actually have really good service, really good food, do a good job. They are very excited. They've been at the golf course already a few times, looking things over. They're just excited to go. They're ready. So we just propose that we accept this proposal and we get them started as soon as we can in there. We appreciate Grant for his work on a contract that should be a little more fair, I guess, to the tenant that's coming in there to, benefit them to stay a little bit longer and want to be there. And so
I noticed you have the beer once licensing is obtained. Do you know what the time frame is there? I know that's for some people out there is important.
yeah, they've been working on that actually without pulling the trigger until this was awarded, but they are a month, 2 months from the Department of Alcohol and Beverage Control getting a license.
Any other questions for Aaron on that?
I move we approve and go forward with the Blue Bell Store and Grill.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Councilman Clower. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Evan. That was easy. And if you haven't tried the Bluebell Burger, you should.
We're trying.
They're really good. Had a couple of discussion items that we can spend as much time as the council wants. But we had this come up in the community several different times, and not only amongst our council, but amongst our citizens. And we have this park here that nobody can do a consensus on what they want to call it. It was the old park. Everybody knows it as the old park. Everybody still calls it the old park.
Yeah.
We had somebody unilaterally change the name to Central Park that really didn't sit well with a lot of people, and so we wanted to bring it up to the council for a brief discussion on, I don't know that we come up with a name here, but do we want to change the name of the park, and if so, what process the council feels would be best to come up with a better name? It's a really important issue.
I think Rowdy's Park sounds good.
Yeah, I like that better than Central Park. Yeah.
We want suggestions, I mean, that one. Sounds all.
Do we get any money for licensing and stuff?
You can pay me.
I always think that if we decide we want to do this going forward, we'd want the citizens to have input of naming it, and then picking a name if that's something we want to go forward with. I know we're planning to put the pickleball courts right there, right? And so it might be potential to be utilized more than it has been, so not that it is not used, but might even have more. So I don't know. That's my recommendation is to put it to the community and get feedback, and then maybe as a council we could then support whichever name.
One comment I had, not necessarily on naming, but the sign that's there now. If you drive a car, it's really hard to see around that.
Yeah,
Trucks, traffic.
it needs to be moved back in. But Dustin, would you get that done? Let's get an engineer. Just take it back out and knock it out. Oh, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, and that's probably some, Councilman Allen, that we can just do and do fairly quick because that's a good point. I like the idea of doing a poll, putting that to the community, maybe steer them a little bit and say, hey, we've got a really good name, Rowdy's Park, but if you like.
There may be others.
Maybe. But I think that would be a good way to approach it. And maybe we keep it at Central. Maybe the public comes back and says, we love Central. Keep it.
I wonder if, rather than doing a poll, we just ask for suggestions, and then it's like, unless we want to lock it in with the poll.
Or, yeah, suggestions, but just say, hey, we're looking, how would you word that?
I'll just ask the community for suggestions on what they would recommend. Park name.
Should we do it at,
Take those and make a list.
do you suggest we change it? And if so, what would you suggest? And if not, it's like that.
Yeah, usually I would stick to 3 questions, 5 at the absolute most. And so to just say, name the park, rename the park, do or don't, and then write in a suggestion.
Yeah.
And since there's really no way for us to verify, we can't lock people out based on their location, right? All of the polling technology that I have access to, you can't say, we can say only Roosevelt citizens should respond, but we can't actually, with the technology, prevent anybody else from doing that. So it would have to be a situation where they're just providing recommendations, and then you as the council go, oh, here are the recommendations that we like.
And I think if we, and that's what I would think, if we get a common name, or if there's names that we as a council like, and we just make that ultimate decision for the citizens, but I think that's a good way to do it.
I think we should do that in line there works.
I'd be curious to see what Roosevelt city employees thought about it too.
What do you guys think? Just in this group real quick, do you, not name wise, but do you think we even ought to mess with it?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to ask for suggestions from the citizens of Roosevelt. I think that's really cool, And I don't know if we necessarily go back to Old Park. I mean, we all know it was Old Park, but that lot right there is all new stuff.
Yeah.
And it's actually newer than Constitution Park. Constitution Park is known as New Park.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think opening it up to the citizens of Roosevelt is a good idea for suggestions, So I think we have a lot of options. I've just been thinking, what would be some fun ones, whether it's Rough Riders Park, I mean, there's so many options we can look into. So I think that's a good option to ask the citizens first.
Yeah, Brent, right, but next you could be Fenway Park. Of course, it depends some people, but.
Feel pretty should be Old Park. It's old and I think there's.
Yeah. That's about, but I won't say it quite yet.
You can tell me later.
I'm learning to control myself on camera and on record. Well, I'd say it's just a discussion item. We don't really need to take action on, obviously, but I think we have a consensus of what the council would like to do. So, Sunshine, would you mind heading that up and part of the poll goes? And
Would you like to see a draft of the poll before I publish it, or do you want to just give me that direction and have me get it out there by a certain date?
Do you guys want to see?
I don't think
what it looks like?
we
Or you-
I trust sunshine.
Yeah, just the normal procedure on that.
I think, isn't it just two questions? Rename the park, don't rename the park. If you want to rename it, what's the suggestion? I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
like really all you're doing.
Field use contract and fee schedule. I don't know who put this one on here.
No. No, I didn't put it on there. I would have put it on there in May. When Aaron's taking over. So all this is kind of updated. Right now, we charge $200 a day. It says for fields, and could be all the fields, that could be one field. So we're kind of just updating the field rental contract. Right now, we got 550 boys playing boys baseball up there, 275 girls playing. So the field time is really hard to get time up there. So this will also help the city find time for them travel teams. There's probably 10 travel teams up there. Number one right there, we're gonna change, this isn't exactly how we want it, because I got with Ed went on board, and Aaron, we'll change it up to where they can get online. They can pick how many practices they want per week, and then we can go in and put them practices in. If we can't fill all the time slots, that'll be just, what we have to do, so.
Would you do it kind of like you do a full reservation then, or how are you?
Through the same software contract. Yeah, so that has a lot of capabilities to the same items, so.
We would probably only go a month at a time and not let them go beyond that, 'cause let's say
Somebody could,
two new teams show up and they want in this schedule and then you don't have room for them, so.
somebody could tie up all of the time.
Well, that's another thing, we're not gonna let them tie up the time, so we're gonna look at what they want, and then we'll make it even with the rest of the teams. We already had that happen this year, one team got on there and tied up from 4 to 8 o'clock, every time slot that was open. So we just shut down the site and told them it was gonna work on it, so. And then also there's gonna be a tournament fee as well for tournament teams coming, and we recommend $50 a team. And then if they want to have the field painted, that's another $25 that day. So it's all on the back. If you want to go to the back page.
Robbie, how much does a team usually pay when they come in for, and Cody, I'm sure.
Just depends on the tournament. Like most tournaments now, to get into the tournament itself is $500 to $700.
Okay.
So we took this we looked at a couple other cities and we picked the one we liked best. We have it down to $10 an hour for practice time. The one we looked at was 20, but I kind of did the math. We have one team that practiced twice a week for 6 months. So it came up to about $1,400 for that one team. So that's at $10. And they were practicing in 2-hour intervals. We're gonna take that down to an hour and a half so we can get 3 teams on a night. Because everybody wants to practice from 5 to 10.
Yeah.
So.
How many players do you normally have on the team?
12.
And how much do you normally charge each player for just the season?
For travel?
No, for, let's say, boys baseball.
For boys baseball, it's for the 7 and 8 and above is $75 a kid.
75
We're
kids.
still gonna charge them just the $15 a kid, but this will go towards the club teams.
Oh, I see.
So because they pay us about 12 grand a year
Yeah.
for use of the fields and.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out, but because the boys baseball, they're basically already paying because we collect a certain amount per person.
And it's a recreation, nobody gets cut, everybody gets to play. So we sponsor them probably a little greater than the other.
Is this something that we're doing with the soccer, or will soccer follow? 'Cause I
Soccer,
know that's another one.
soccer will follow. Right now, the contract, we did like a 1-year contract with them. That's got to change too, because they're they got a recreation side and a club side. So the club side will go to the hourly rate. If we paint their fields, it'll be per field painting, so. I think that's kind of what we had in mind, so.
I think the rates are reasonable. I mean, it'll impact me and the teams I coach, but I think it's a good deal. It's tough to find time to play, and this will make it fair for everybody.
Vernal also, they're not doing any softball recreational programs over there this year. So they're all, so the next 8 weeks, we have tournaments up at the park. 8 weeks, 8 weekends in a row. And that's one of them is the Vernal Icebreaker in Roosevelt, so. So the other question I have for you, are we okay to start charging that rate, or we gotta go by the old rate till this is kind of officially approved? Because right now, there's still some wording in here we gotta get correct.
We would have to wait until our fee schedules change. And so
We
we
are-
could get it figured out by the next council meeting, we can have that.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't, did that, any feedback from
No, I appreciate your efforts on that. Brent, yeah, you and Aaron and
Yeah, and Dustin as well, he looked up, he's been looking them up for the last 10 years. Trying to figure out a way to do this, so.
well, this has been much needed and we'll get a lot of phone calls, I know that.
Well, and as far as the O&M goes, it'll go a long ways to help out there.
Right.
And in fairness, I think that's what I've got the most phone calls on, is fairness, like Cody said, and I think it's great, appreciate it.
Right, it'll be equal, and they're not, like I said, these guys will check the schedule, there won't be somebody getting on and saying, give me 6 nights.
And the cool thing with that is they can go on and look at their schedule right there, print it off, whatever, and know, I mean, yeah, be nice.
All right, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the last item we have for discussion item is city beautification. We do have it, so the reason I put this on there, we have a couple of things coming up. First of all, Josh contacted me during the week and asked, do we want to go ahead and participate in the city cleanup with K&K? And I think we budgeted for it, and so he had to give him an answer, so he just said, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. There is the Interfaith Council is wanting to head up another city beautification or cleanup throughout the city around May 20th, I believe, is what they were thinking. And so wanted to get the council on that and get some ideas and see what we can do to organize areas within the city that the staff could identify that we might have specific projects that we could have people come and assign to, or what the Interfaith Council is wanting to do is go and get this out to all of the different denominations, obviously, and then have certain projects that they come and participate in. One of the things that was mentioned is getting brooms and sweeping Main Street. We have the trucks and they're going and sweeping up the gutters and things like that, but on the sidewalks, if you noticed, it's pretty rough still. And I think that, isn't that technically the business owner's responsibility? So I wonder if they know that. Maybe some do, maybe some don't. But anyway, there was some talk about just getting together with some buckets, sweeping it, putting it in a bucket and having a dump truck or something come along, or backhoe, we can put it in the backhoe bucket and keep moving on along Main Street. I don't know. But there is a desire to beautify our city. Some of the things that, going to Indonesia, they're one of the poorest countries out there. But they have statues and they have cultural things displayed all over their cities. We have nothing like that. And so that's something that I was thinking as I was there. We have all these projects that we have going on. We have a busy schedule this year for projects, and I think it's phenomenal. And as soon as those projects are done, I think personally, I would like to focus on city beautification and actually working on some of those types of things and bringing some of our culture and displaying that and sprucing up our city, polishing it. So anyway, that's a thought. So it's a discussion item that we don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but just want to get the council's thinking on that and what can we do. A thought that came to mind is putting a Teddy Roosevelt rearing up on a horse, big one right there on the L&L corner on that island. I've been to Price, for crying out loud. They have a Coca-Cola playing, and the thing, I'll drive past that just to see it. And it's kind of in their older downtown area. And it's just neat to see some of those things displayed. So, yeah, There you go. He's not raring, but something like that would be awesome.
Real cool spot would be below the flag up on the hill, on the cliff.
So you know what, yeah, I agree. Wouldn't it be cool to have a soldier right on the edge of that hill, knelt down praying, overlooking the
Cemetery.
cemetery with that flag behind it with the light on? Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be cool.
But those types of things to kind of spruce up our town, like just show that we have pride in our town, show our culture. One of the things that was going to be on here too is what we do with that other building. Whether we make it into a history center and you know, a visitor center and a museum or not, that's one thing, but just things that we can do to take a little pride in our city. It's amazing. They have nothing, but man, you have to see the monuments they build. And it just demonstrates and shows their culture and how much they care about their culture and their livelihood and their people, and they're proud of what they have and stuff.
Where are we on that flag that I know we paid for half of it a while ago, right?
I think it's in the works.
It's in the works. They need to come out and look at the site and make sure they get a crane in and stuff, but it's being built.
Here's a thought that was brought up, and after some brainstorming, would be phenomenal for that unveiling of that flag. So talking with the Roars, he's a part of the Legion, and he was wanting to do like a flag burning ceremony the morning of the 4th of July. And we got talking that that's possibly something we could do before the race. And then, but you were there, weren't you? And before that, or as the flag ceremony or the burning of the flag ceremony, we could have that flag unveiled and raised, because you could see it.
I thought we were burning the flag and having that big one after. And then
Right,
the beginning.
and having the Pledge of Allegiance and then kicking off the race.
As in retiring flags.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna have a flag burning. Yes, thanks.
We actually have a big
Strike
full
that.
of flags that need to be retired.
So they do a particular ceremony,
Right.
and you go and you give them their flag, and then they take the flag and they appropriately retire the flag and then burn it. Yeah, and we have burn barrels. We were thinking of possibly using those burn barrels up there. But that could be the start of the race, after the flag burning, right before the race starts. The Pledge of Allegiance, once we could raise that big flag and then start the race off. I think that would be a really good way to start 4th of July. So.
The pole. Yeah, I'm working on the pole right now. One cool thing too is we're meeting with Moon Lake and they're gonna be wanting to light it up too, so
Awesome.
they're helping us on that. So when they come out to visit on site, I'll let you know and we'll get together and go up there, because there is a concern because it's on a pinnacle there, and if we can get the crane in there to actually set this thing, because it's 120 feet, so it's not a small pole.
Do we have a grader? We'll just make our own.
Yeah.
I would just, I like what you said, Mayor, about getting with the city and seeing some things that we need, if they could put together some projects so that, we could then have those available and then have them shared through the interfaith, so they can then divide up kind of the work, I think would be ideal.
So, yeah, the date on that would be May 20th. So that's the tentative date. And I told Terry, if you help me remember, because you were there, did you stay clear till the very bitter end?
I must have missed this one, because I usually go to those.
Yeah, because she was, I think it was the 20th.
I'll check Mary Ann, I will figure out, I'll check. The 20th sounds right.
Okay. And so if we can get some projects within our city from staff recommendations by the 20th and start to coordinate those. The reason we pushed it to the 20th is she said that she thought she could pull something off. And we tried to figure out how much time we need to kind of gather up that information. So that really only gives us about 4 weeks. So we were hoping to give her information within the next couple of weeks, so that then she can start to go out and organize that with the rest of the Interfaith Council and make sure it's advertised at least 2 weeks before we have it, and we have some type of organization to it. Do you think that's enough time to pull off something like that?
Who's gonna collect the sites or the cleanup or the whatever needs to be done? I assume you're gonna have it, you want it probably in 2 weeks so that you can then give it to Terry to coordinate, but I'm just wondering who's gonna collect that so they can then just give a list, here's some ideas of places. Is that Sunshine? Is that Ryan? Is that Josh? Is it, I mean,
Josh and I's already kind of talked about it a little bit, and we had a few sites already in mind, so the two of us can get together
okay.
and get with department heads and get it rounded up. So,
So if you could have,
mhm.
yeah, if you could have it within 2 weeks so that we could get it to Terry, that'd be great, or sooner even.
Yeah, we can do that.
And it's pretty neat to watch that interfaith council it was kind of on the rocks, and it's not totally solidified, but it's getting better, and there's a little more continuity to it. And I can tell there's a little more excitement because we are having some of these projects. I say we, they're, but they feel empowered.
Sunshine, when's their next meeting?
Wow, we just had one last week. Give me 2 seconds.
I'm sorry I missed it. I didn't see that on my schedule.
And so the second part of that way she's looking is if the council can think of things that we can do to spruce up our community, statues, I don't know, whatever, trees, things that just start thinking along those lines. I'm excited.
Wednesday, May 10th at noon.
Is the next interfaith council? Yeah, so if we could have that information to them by the 10th, then they can have that information to organize amongst themselves and disseminate it and give them 10 days. I don't know how much time we need. Probably more than that.
Ideally,
If we
probably
could have everything figured out by that time,
Yeah.
then we could be advertising and give them the advertisements and everything, and then they could go back to their, that even 10, almost 2 weeks to get it to their congregations. Cool. Any other thoughts on that?
No, I appreciate the efforts and their willingness to want to help. I think that's great.
Good deal. City manager report. Assistant city manager report.
Project.
Oh, hey, this reminds me. I hope you guys didn't fill those by hand.
No. No. Josh didn't have a whole lot, but he did want to make sure that we mentioned that we have sandbags available, and if they need delivered, we do have a company that was willing to donate their time and deliver these to the site. So if you have anybody reach out to you or know anybody that needs sandbags, let us know. We can get them there. So
On that, Ryan, John Sorensen said that he would donate. He has a sandbagger. So I don't know if that's what we use to fill those. Yes.
The Global Hollow Young Men's Group fill those by last week.
Well, good for them. That gives me strong. If we need to fill some in a very quick, very quickly, and he's got a machine where basically you dump the sand in, then you step on the pedal and it fills it up, and then you tie it up and move it and do the next one. So it's that easy. If we need mass production and things like that.
okay, good to know. And the only thing I need to add is probably our projects that just be mindful of the streets. We've got the crack sealing going on and the chip sealing and then Stage Street. Just be patient. Hopefully everybody's hearing that, but there's gonna be a lot of cones set up and things like that, so just be safe. So, that's all I had, unless you had any questions.
The gun range.
The gun range, yeah, we got it out. It's currently out to bid right now. You and I haven't talked, but we're gonna extend it to Tuesday on that, so we're gonna have the opening on Tuesday. Hopefully we get somebody to be interested. There's a lot of earthwork that's gotta be done. There is a few challenges. We went out there last week or a couple days ago, and there is some ledge rock and and stuff, but it's nothing that we can't handle. It's just a matter of time and getting materials, so. But there was a lot of interest. We had 4 or 5 different contractors out there, so.
At least, yeah. Now, how interested they were once they left, I don't know.
I don't know. We should have handed out ice cream, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, any other questions regarding projects or anything going on?
No, thanks for your efforts.
Okay.
Thanks, Ryan. Committee reports? You got anything?
Nope.
Nope. Councilman Lukenbart?
No, but you did skip purchase order. And I,
Right. Yep, I did. Okay.
and I would like to move, we approve, I've seen
Okay. Have a motion. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second. Councilman Clower, all in favor?
that. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
No problem.
Any items for future discussion? Any need for closed session?
I don't know. We had the email from patrons over Emerald Hill area there, kind of north of the junior high. There was some, I think that's where it's at. Didn't they have some basement water and then they said there was flooding? And the city came and,
Oh, the one on State Street?
no, James Sasser was the one that sent the email.
He's on State
Is
Street.
it State Street? Okay, is that where it was? I couldn't remember.
According to the past.
Did we ever find out anything on that?
He's putting in a claim. We reached out to him.
Okay, so we're working on it.
Oh, yeah.
They just asked and I was just curious if we,
Mary Ann's reached out to him too as well, so.
because there was like 3 or 4, wasn't there? Not just him,
There was 3.
3. Okay, all right. That's all. I was just curious.
Any other items for discussion? Future discussion?
I move we adjourn then.
Motion in second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Excellent. Oh, wait. Before anybody leaves. It's 6:10. Last meeting, I was not here. It was after 8 o'clock that we adjourned. We had less agenda items. I'm just saying.
And I tried not to interrupt too.